Hello, hello. Happy Monday night. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend and you're all feeling well. Sometimes the news is a little daunting, but let's hope everybody's doing okay, staying healthy. I'm super glad I went on my cruise when I did and that I'm not doing it now. I'd still be there. So good to know. Let me know when you're here. We are making a card tonight. And we are working with embossing folders, and they're one of the most unsung products that I don't necessarily think to share, yet I love the look of them. But I forget about them because they're kind of over that section and I don't always remember them. So let me know when you're here. I wanted to grab something. I need another piece of old olive. And all of the people that participated in the event that won something from Thursday, all of those are in the mail. I dropped the last bunch off today. So if you won one of our participation projects or games or things, you should be getting something from me. I had such a good time doing that. We will definitely do that again. So I'm going to get started. I hope that someone's here. I feel like I'm all alone. Oh, hey, Kathy. Phew, thought I was all by myself. Let me know when you're here. Alrighty. Okay, so here's the card that we're going to make tonight. And hey, Carrie. And this was inspired by another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Lisa, who did the kind of quilting look. She used different papers and stuff, but I love the idea. So I cased, copy and share everything. That's what we at Stampin' Up! Do. But we just give credit to whoever we got it from. So, hey, Dallas. Okay, so this is our card. You can see, doesn't it really look like a quilt? It's got all the quilting detail in it. I know. Carrie, oh, I had an event on Thursday night at Facebook Live. And we had different contests and prizes and games that you could participate in. And so people that did, I picked winners. I'll definitely do another one this month, probably towards the end of March or beginning of April. And you get to win things. It was really fun. You can probably look back. It's in the events, but it's a past event. They're kind of hard to find. It's on this page. And you might see some of the projects that we did. Carrie, you want to make sure, since you're new, I want to make sure that I let you know, you want to make sure that you go to karamiller.com and click on Classroom. And there is a free classroom there that you're going to want to enroll in. It says 2020 projects. Or 2020 classes, I'm not sure what it says, but you want to go to the classroom and pick the free one. It looks like, see where it says 2020 live classes, that's the one you want. And all the things that I do here in Facebook Live is free. Hey, Deborah. So you definitely want to do that. I put supply lists in there, I upload and put sketches, measurements, everything's right there, so it's super easy to find. I know, wasn't it beautiful today? Absolutely gorgeous. Super, super fantastic weather. Had all the windows open, washed the beds. It was great. We got lots of fresh air here. No viruses are getting me. I'm getting my vitamin C and my fresh air. We're good. All right, so how are we going to do this? It's kind of cute, but look what I did to the envelope, right? Ooh. Okay, so let's get started. First things first, this is the folder that I'm using. And Stampin' Up! Changed a lot about what they do with their embossing folders last year. Because of a situation with Sizzix, we no longer work with Sizzix. I don't really know all the details. I know that Sizzix has changed a lot of the companies that they work with, and they don't work with Stampin' Up! Anymore. So some of my folders, I don't have too many that still say Sizzix on them, but many of the designs have been recreated and they just say Stampin' Up on them. But to make life complicated, if you're still using your Big Shot, you have to do a little bit different sandwich. So I just kind of wanted to run through that before we get too carried away. See, here's a Sizzix one. Okay, here's one that's not. So it's just it's the same thick folder. It's a 3D embossing folder. This one is high C's, but it's not made by Sizzix. This is the same kind of 3D embossing folder, but it is made by Sizzix. And if you get really detaily, you can see one is a little bit thicker than the other. So it's going to change what you do. So if you don't have any old ones with Sizzix on them, you can just ignore what I'm going to tell you right now. If you do, then your sandwich is a little different. Both of your sandwiches have to have the Big Shot platform. Not the ones with them that are a magnet, just the plain, ordinary Big Shot platform. Now you might be wondering in the back of your mind, well, if we don't work with Sizzix anymore, do we still offer a die cut machine like the Big Shot? We don't. So I actually linked one in the classroom that I talked about. Remember, go to caramilli.com, click on classroom, and there was a really great deal on a Big Shot. It's not black, it's gray, from Amazon today, if you've been waiting, looking. I don't have a date. We do have a die cut machine that's being worked on, but we don't have one right now. So, okay, enough about that. You're going to want the plain Big Shot platform, and if your dies still say Sizzix on it, hey Vicki, you're going to want to use just the plain clear platform plate, and that's all you need. So you need the platform, the folder, and this, if it says Sizzix. Now, if it doesn't, and it's just a plain 3D Stampin' Up folder, says Stampin' Up on the back, Stampin' Up on the front, nothing up in the corner, then you're going to want this blue plate and the regular platform, okay? So that's all you need to remember. If it says Stampin' Up and nothing else, go blue. If it's an older one, which it's one that you would have had, you won't have it, you can't buy these now, so it's one that you would have somewhere in your collection. And if it says Sizzix on it and Stampin' Up, then you're going to want the clear. But anything new since July of last year new, you're going to need, so it just says Stampin' Up, still thick, and the blue plate. Okay? All right. Enough of that confusing crazy. So, and of course, my tin tile is an old one. I probably have a new one in here too, but I didn't go looking for it. Anyway, we are going to start with our card base, which is 8.5 by 11, cut in half. Thick whisper white, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to end up with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 card. Okay? Cool. Then I'm going to cut a piece of whisper white, and this is a size different than I normally do. Sylvia, it is in the catalog. It's not in the paper catalog, but it's in my store, and it's from Stampin' Up. And again, if you go to that classroom, or Stampin' Up, if you go to that classroom that I suggested, it looks like this. The supply list is in there with the item number, because I never know them. I don't ever remember them. Okay? And I always put them in there. All right, so I'm using Old Olive, and this is a different size than I normally do. It's a little bit bigger than what we usually cut. So this is going to be 5 3/8. I know, it hurts our heads, but we're doing it. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. okay? Make sure I got that right. I did. They still work, even though they kind of get beat up. And then this is going to go right here on the front of your card. A little bit smaller than the actual card, but it's going to go, all right? So we're going to put that down so we don't get confused. So it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. All right. All right. There we go. Now, moving right along, we are going to create our quilt. So we're going to take a piece of thin Whisper White, and I'm going to cut this the size we usually do, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And again, all these measurements are in that classroom. And I think I uploaded it, but if I didn't, I will make sure it's all uploaded right after I get done here. Then the next thing that I love is the silicone craft sheet. And I have a new one because the other one I have is really icky looking. The silicone craft sheet, no glue sticks to. A hot glue gun, liquid glue, snail, all of it. If you happen to get some on it, see, it doesn't even stick, but if you did, it would just roll up and come right off. It's great to work with. So we're going to put that aside. And that is, I don't know what its item number is, but I'll put that in there too. Okay. Then I took a piece of designer series paper and I picked the Peaceful Poppies because I really like the colors in this one. And you're going to cut 1 1/4 inch squares. So you can take any piece of leftover that you have. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a lot. They don't have to all match. You can do coordinating papers. Notice, remember, Stampin' Up! Has 2-sided designer series paper. So these are my quilt squares. All right? Okay, so let's move this over. And we are going to start. Now, if you don't have a tile like I do, you might want to use your grid paper, which I thought I had right here, but I apparently don't. The grid paper is great because it gives you nice straight lines. You're going to use your eyeball. You do not need to measure this. All right. I'm going to pick one piece, and I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to put some glue on the back, use my snail, and I'm going to position this in the middle. And I'm going to go a little bit above, and I'm eyeballing, completely eyeballing. If this will keep you up at night, use your grid paper so that you can get your lines where you want them. The next piece I'm going to do, I'm going to line up the points. And you're thinking, it's hanging over the edge. Did she notice it was hanging over the edge? Yes, I did. I'm going to show you how to fix that after. But for now, I want it to hang over the edge a little. And I'm going to position these like so. Let me show you how it's going to go, because I might want to change my colors a little. Okay. So that is how it's going to basically set up, just like you would play with quilted paper or quilted cloth. All right. So let's move you guys over. We're going to start with you. And we're going to line this up, make sure it's nice and straight. And yes, I do know it's hanging over the edge. I know. It'll be okay. And then this one. I mean, I feel like it looked crooked to me. There, that looks better. And then this one. Right. And then you can see it goes pretty quick, even though it looks like it was going to be super crazy measuring. It's not bad at all. And then one more. So what I did was I cut a 3-inch strip, and then I cut it into 1.5, and then I cut 1.5 inch. You could use one of the dies. If you happen to have the squares, let me find it for you, which one I mean, this one. The layering shapes, and you could use one of these. This would be kind of cool. Lots of options. I just use my trimmer. And then I'm going to take a pair of long-handled scissors, long-bladed scissors, not my snips. And I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to trim off the excess. Right? Super easy. Just go right along the edge of the Whisper White. All right. One other idea that you could do if you wanted something a little bit different is, you know, the stitch shapes, these, the stitched rectangles, you could do that, and that would look pretty cool too. You could just pop this right on the outside, and it's going to trim that all down. So it doesn't have to be cut with scissors. You can use your dies. If you were watching during the event, I told you about the potential of some delay in getting some of our dies and our embossing folders and our punches because they're made in China. And as the virus is improving in China, but people have been out of the factories for some time. So there is going to be a lag, or potentially a lag, in getting product to us. So, saying that, I would suggest if you are in love with a particular die and you've been thinking, I'll get that later, I wouldn't get that later. It will go on back order. So I would get that now, or as soon as you can, if it's something that you're absolutely in love with and can't wait for. Okay, I want to show you on the old one and the new one. Let me grab a new one. Stampin' Up! Put this great line down at the bottom, and that's where you want to line up the bottom of your quilt. Right along the bottom. And the easiest way is to flip it over and see how it's doing, right? Okay, even the older ones have that too. So I'm going to turn it over. Now, because I'm using an older one, I should have picked a different one, but I like this one. Even though I'm using an older one, I'm still going to do this. Actually, I don't need to, sorry. It's going to stay right there because I've got it on the line, and I'm going to squeeze it down. So, older one means this, the regular plate, and a clear plate. If I were using a new 3D one, I would want the blue plate on top for a perfect sandwich. And I'm going to run this right through, and it's going to come out quilted. So much easier than if it were fabric. Come here. Look how cool that is, right? Even my designer series paper is quilted. You can see it on this blue one really well, right? Okay, now we're not done, so I'm going to do this while the machine is still in front of you. You're going to take an envelope, just our regular medium envelopes, and you're going to position it on the side of your folder and squish it down, okay? Then I'm going to lay it down here, so it's going to go through like that, all right? And depending on your folder, if it's a new one, you're going to use the blue. For me, I'm going to use the clear, and I'm going to run it through, making sure my folder doesn't stick out. And I'm going to stop when I get to the end of the folder. if I keep going, I'm going to end up with a line here where this plate is, okay? So stop right there. It clunks off. And I tend to go back again because then it ends up on my side instead of back here. And look what we got, right? Isn't that super cool? Okay. Now we can move this baby out of the way. And we can go back to our card and assemble it. So we have this that's going to go, and you can see how that fits nicely around, leaving our 1/8 of an inch around it. Because you use the embossing folder, and now it's an embossed piece of paper, you want to be sure it sticks really well. So you need a little bit more snail on the back than what you would normally do. And then line that up. And there we go, right? Okay. Now, the pretty label punch is one of my favorites. I use this a lot. And I punched Old Olive. And I'm also going to get a scrap of Whisper White. Okay. And I am using this Old Olive and the Forever Blooms stamp set. I love the way the fonts work on this one. So I am using All of My Loves, All of Me Loves All of You on the outside. And then on the inside, I am doing, which one did I choose? Oh, You Mean So Much to Me on the inside. I could have looked at the card and then I would see. All of Me Loves All of You, and then You Mean So Much to Me. I love the mix of the fonts. We've got the straight up and down, and then the cursive. I like a script. I like that. All right, so we're going to get those on here. The All of Me Loves All of You, using our Old Olive. And then, while I have this open, I'm going to put that right in there. Make sure I'm going the right way. I really am having a hard time reading backwards today. And make sure that I have this nice and straight. What happens if you mess this up? That's what they make more punches for. And you could just make a punch and put it right over it and start again if you had to, right? Fortunately, I did it okay. All right. Now close up the ink and put that away so it doesn't get all over me. And then I'm going to take this and my punch, and I'm going to look down through the hole and line up this so it's right in the middle. All right, now you're looking at this thinking, that does not look like this. It doesn't. It looks different, right? Okay, so to get this look, we're going to take, again, those long-handled scissors, those long-bladed scissors, and we are going to cut right straight across. If you can't cut a straight line, you could put this in the trimmer. And don't feel bad, lots of us can't. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put a little bit of snail at the top and a little bit of snail at the bottom. And then I'm going to hold this in place, and I'm going to line this up like so, till I get it right where I want it. And squeeze. And then this one, I'm going to do the same on this part. Right? Then flip this over, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. And now, and you're looking at that thinking, that doesn't look straight. It doesn't, but it hides these ends pretty well. So if for some reason, let's zoom in really tight. If for some reason, see how that little space is there and it's going to keep you up tonight? Take your scissors and just come around and trim ever so little so you kind of fill it in, all right? If you really don't like it, you can always put a flower or a sequin or a bow. All those things cover up some of those. All right, so let's get this down and then I'll show you what I mean about if those little pieces are going to, and honestly, there are things that keep me up at night. Some things make me super crazy and I cannot live with it. Other things, I'm good with it. So I understand. I love it when orders come. It's so much fun. Okay. And then this is going to go right here. All right, so now we're like, that little piece, that's going to, no, I'm not liking that. You got to do something with that. Kara, fix it. I'm going to help myself to, I'm looking for that, my embellishment box. Where is it? I just had it out earlier. I have one of the, oh, it's over here. This is an empty stamp kit. Whoops, sorry, wrong way. And I just keep embellishments in here. Ones I don't know what I'm going to do with. I'm going to grab some of these champagne ones, which are currently on back order. So I'm going to take one of those. I should use my, I'm going to put that right there. I should use my take your pick, and it actually works pretty well if I could find it. Yeah. And I like this end, right? And pick this up. Why am I having such trouble? My fingernails worked way better, folks. There it is, okay? And then just pop that down on the end right there. So if it's going to bug you that the pieces don't look exactly right, then cover it up. All right? So there we be. All of me loves all of you. Super easy. And it really looks like you went crazy and took a whole bunch of time to create this, and we didn't. And then we have this awesome envelope that we're going to add to it. And we have created a really fun card. All right, everybody? Well, I hope you have a great week. I will see you again on Thursday. And if you have any questions, not sure about anything, if you sign up for the classroom and you see things in there that you wonder what it was about or you want more help, just drop me a note. I'm happy to help. And the easiest way to find me is to just go to caramiller.com. Make sure that you sign up for my mailing, and you won't miss a trick. I tell you everything that's going on. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you soon.